Yo, what is up, guys? First of all, before we get started, I just want to give a huge thank you to all of you guys. Thank you so much for the feedback we got on the last video. The reception of it was absolutely crazy. Makes me super excited to keep doing these videos. There were definitely some things that I missed. You know, I talked about double caster, double melee, didn't even go over it. I'm going to go over all this stuff. Don't worry. We're going to do a lot more videos like this. But yeah, I just want to give you a huge thank you. And if you want to see more content like this, please hit this video with a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Let's jump in. Why is UI important? May sound simple, but your UI is essentially all of the visual information that you're receiving while you're playing the game. If your UI is set up in a way that is messy, convoluted, or scattered, then the information in your brain is going to be messy, convoluted, and scattered. Taking the time to set up your UI in a way that works for you, that you understand, that's nice and clean, is going to make a huge difference in your gameplay. Why are add-ons important? Add-ons are a staple of modern WoW. Sure, back in the day, there were, at BlizzCon, all the players are playing with no add-ons. This is not the way it is anymore. Add-ons are an integral part of the game. If you are not playing with add-ons, you're at a huge disadvantage. If you want to be competitive in WoW, you got to take the time to understand the add-ons you're playing with and set them up in a way that is effective for you. So I've separated out the add-ons that I use into must-have and optional. For must-have, we've got sArena Gladius, Omnibar, BigDebuffs, Details, Weakauras. For optional, we've got BetterBlizzFrames, BetterBlizzPlates, Omni CD, and Doom Cooldown Pulse. Before we get started, I just want to really hammer this point home. Your UI is your UI. What works for you might not work for somebody else. What works for somebody else might not work for you. So in this video, I'm going to tell you how I have it set up. But at the end of the day, it's going to be trial and error. If you're doing solo shuffle and you notice something with your UI, make a mental note of it before you just instantly queue up again after that round's over. Go fix that problem, set it up, try to clean it up. Go maybe record your games again, like I went over in the first video. Watch yourself playing and just maybe sometimes you're like, what? Why do I have all this random stuff popping up on my screen that I never even use, that I don't like? Why is my target frame in the center of my screen? Why, it could be a little bit further away. Things like this. Just record your games, go back and watch them. That's going to be a recurring theme throughout this whole series. And just spend the time to craft your UI in the way that you want it to be. All right, so first thing, in my Discord, you can get here, just go to my stream chat, type !Discord. I have created 2 new channels. I deleted the old one, and we got 2 new channels, Weakauras and add-on profiles. Under Weakauras, these are the important ones. These are really the ones that everybody's coming in my stream asking for all the time. I've posted these here with links, and then we've got add-on profiles. This is my BetterBlizzFrames profile. You just got to download this text file because it was too big. BetterBlizzPlates profile, download the text file. This is my Omnibar profile. This is my Omni CD profile. So if you just want to, if this is all you want from this video and you just want to copy paste these or get these Weakauras, go right ahead. But, I'm going to dive into the specifics of each add-on, the ways that I have it set up. So I'd encourage you to stick around because there are add-ons that I'm not able to share profiles for that I'm going to be going over in this video. So before we jump into add-ons, I want to just quickly go over my UI, why I have it set up the way that it is, and just a couple key settings that I think are important to have. If you open up your menu, go to options, go to interface, and click always show nameplates, and larger nameplates is huge. Always show nameplates is key because if you drop combat, it will stop showing them, and you always want to see them even if you're out of combat. And then under enemy unit nameplates, uncheck minor. This is for little wild imps and annoying little things that you don't really need to see, and check minions to see pets and totems and things like that. Then under combat, you want to make sure that target of target is enabled and that self-cast is set to none. Target of target lets you see if you're targeting somebody or focusing somebody. It lets you see who they're targeting, which can be important, especially in the beginning of a game in solo shuffle. If you put somebody on focus, you can very quickly tell who they're going to be attacking based on who they're targeting. Having self-cast set to none is going to make it so that if one of your teammates gets mind controlled and you're spamming Ironbark, it doesn't automatically cast it on yourself, right? It's just a way to avoid those kinds of outplays. Some people, are confused about graphics settings, so I'm going to just quickly scroll through this graphics setting. If you want to pause the video and copy different settings, feel free. I'm just going to scroll down, scroll up, feel free to copy whatever it is that you want to. I don't have anything super special set up, but if there's anything that stands out to you, then go ahead and try to copy it. All right, so quickly, I'm just going to go over the way that I have my UI set up and why I have it set up this way. So I have my player frame, my target frame, my sArena. This is my focus frame. And then I have the bars here and the bars here. So if you take a look at this, I have some things that are squeezed into the middle a little bit. There's some space here, and there's some space here, and there's some space here, and there's a little bit of space here. So I've kind of squeezed everything a little bit closer to the middle. Back in BFA and in Legion, I actually had these frames were like here. My target frame was like right in the center of my screen up here, and my sArena was even like closer to me, where sometimes these cast bars were on top of me. Over time, I've moved them out a little bit, and I would recommend, if as far out as you can go, the better, because the further out that you are, like if I'm in arena and I'm fighting this guy, right, then if he's over here, right, if he's behind my sArena, I'm not going to be able to see him as well. I might miss an animation, I might miss a cast, like there could be something. If he's standing here and I can't really see him, he's covered up by my UI. If he's here, I can't see him at all, right? So the further out things are, I think the better. But as a healer, sometimes it is nice to have them a little closer so you can quickly see if somebody gets CC'd and you need to dispel them or something like that. It's a trade-off, right? The closer to the center they are, the more accessible that information is going to be. The further away they are, the more other general information you're going to be able to get from looking around the arena. So I would recommend experimenting with how you like it set up. Do you like them closer together? Do you like them further apart? And then over time, the more comfortable you get, maybe try to incrementally move them like 1 or 2 pixels, you know, like 1 or 2 settings in the add-on. Like just instead of 158, set it to 160, so it's a little bit further. You know, just these tiny little incremental changes that you probably won't notice. But if you move it up by a little bit each time, your eyes become more adjusted to looking a little bit further. Your peripheral vision gets better. You know, there's different ways that you can adjust your UI incrementally, slowly over time. I'm not going to spend a huge amount of time on keybinds because I think that keybinds are something that is totally subjective. Everybody's hand sits differently on the keyboard, and you just want to have those binds that you want to be able to click quickly, like dispel or cancel form, or, you know, targeting people. You want to make those really easy, simple to understand, and accessible for your hand. So real quickly for me, my targeting for my party 1 and party 2 is shift 1 and shift 2, right? And for myself is shift 3. So shift 1, 2, 3. They're all right next to each other, and I've had that way since I had keybinds, right? So it's always been the same, and that's easy for me. For targeting arena 1, 2, 3, control 1, control 2, control 3. You know, so those targeting binds are all in the same place for friendly and for enemy. So my hand has gotten used to accessing those really quickly. For focus, 1, 2, 3 is shift D, F, and G. Right. So those are my targeting binds. You know, set them up the way that you like them, but I would recommend trying to keep them close together. One script that I do use that I think I really, really, really love and makes my UI feel cleaner and look better is this one right here. So if you take a look at my bars here, you see how you can see the keybind for each icon on the icon itself. What this script does is removes that and replaces it with something else. So if I click this script, click it right there, see how now there's just that little white dot? So if I target this dummy out of here and he's out of range from my offensive attacks, it's a red dot. If I get in range, that dot becomes white. If I target this dummy here, he's in range for these abilities, but as soon as I get out of range, that dot turns red. So I have shared this script in my Discord. If you go to add-on profiles here, it is just this script right here, and I'll show you what it looks like when it's typed out. Basically, it's just this. You do need to have this script on one of your bars because every time you reload your UI or log out, it will reset. You'll have to click it again. So I just have it keybound to Alt tilde or whatever this keybind is, and I just press it, and then that script is now active. All right, add-on number 1, BigDebuffs. This is debatably one of the top important add-ons to have as a healer in World of Warcraft. So number 1, this is something that people have come in my chat. I kid you not, probably 5,000 times. People have said, oh my God, especially druids. They're like, oh my God, dude, how do you see all your hots on your teammates on your raid frames? Like, I only get 3. Open up BigDebuffs. It's the first panel, raid frames. Click increase maximum buffs to 6. Even if you're not a druid, this is huge. It just stacks another 3 on top of the 3 that are already there. So you're able to see more buffs. Huge, super easy, super simple. Go do it. Then you can see the section that says size. I have set the size of all of these to 75% for dispellable CC and, you know, all of the important ones. If you want to set the size to something that works for you, feel free. But I'm going to click through each of these settings, and you can just feel free to pause the video, copy the setting that I have, because this was one that I was not able to share a profile for. Maybe there's something I'm missing. I'm just going to click through each one, and if you want to copy the settings, feel free. Raid frames, unit frames. I actually don't use nameplates for this. I find it kind of crowds my UI a little bit. Priority, and then spells. Right here is a super important thing. I did not really go in and customize any of these spells, but if you go to crowd control, I went to each stun, asphyxiate, axe toss, binding shot, cheap shot, all of these stuns. I clicked custom priority and I set the priority to 100 because stuns are the most important crowd control in WoW. If you're in a sheep, you can't get killed in a sheep. If you're in a fear, if you take a bunch of damage, it's going to break. Stuns, you can take an infinite amount of damage, and that crowd control is never going to break. So as a healer, understanding when your team is stunned, it's going to tell you who's going to die, who's in danger, or who's going to get set up for another crowd control. So I went ahead and put stuns at the top priority for me, and I think that that really was a huge thing that I did that helped me set up my UI in a better way. So here you can see BigDebuffs, working in action. This is the size, and this, you can see that the stun is the top priority over all the other buffs that he has. That's basically what it looks like. With details, I don't think there's too much to go over. You got damage, healing, all the stuff you can see. Pretty straightforward. Just get it, and then go in and click stuff and be like, oh, what's this ability? What's that doing? Oh, this is where all their damage comes from. Open up your healing and say, oh, is it worth taking this talent or this talent? Just it helps you analyze your games after you play them, and it's just a big quality of life thing to have for sure. All right, Omnibar. Okay, before we get started, I'm gonna hit this button called Test All, right? And I'm gonna cancel the Omnibar, and you can just see what happens. All right. As you can see here, I don't just have one Omnibar. A lot of times I'll be watching somebody stream or watching somebody play, and they just have one Omnibar with every ability on it. One thing that I think is important to know about this add-on, you can create bars. So I have my profile in my Discord. If you want to go get it, go grab it. But I'm going to quickly explain to you what all these different ones do and why I have them set up. So this one tracks your healer dispel. If I just hit test on this one and open up sArena, hit test, the healer dispel is going to pop up here. When I'm on my Holy Paladin, it's important to know when the healer doesn't have dispel, because if there's a melee overextended on me, like I went over in the last video, and the healer doesn't have dispel, I can Hammer of Justice him, the healer can't dispel, and we either get a trinket, or if he doesn't have trinket, then he's going to sit that full stun, and we can maybe land a kill. So it's important to have. Then I have one called Important. This one is in all caps because it's huge. It's in the top left of my screen. It's far away from my vision, so it's not gonna, impede with anything. I'm really all the important information on my screen where anybody's standing. So it just tracks very important offensive enemy cooldowns and things like that. One of the main things I have on here is Siphoned. Pre-Siphoned is a really, really big deal, especially for Resto Druids. So I track it up here at the top. Then I have Kicks. I have Kicks and my main Omnibar set up separately. So if I hit Kicks, you can see that they pop up right here. They're a little bit smaller. And then if I hit main and hit test, you can see that the main one is below. It's covering it up right now, but the main Omnibar, usually there's not more than this number of abilities that show up. So I have my main, and in just a few seconds, you'll see it pop up. So this is the main Omnibar, and then the kicks are above. The reason I have it set up like this is so that I'm not looking at one bar, just trying to filter through all the different icons to see which ones are kicks and which ones aren't. It just makes it easier and is a cleaner way to set it up. This is called Omnibar 7, and I actually haven't named it what it is, but it is just Fire Breath. This is literally only tracking one ability called Fire Breath from Evokers. It's a super important ability to know when it's off cooldown as a Resto Druid, because it's going to take all of your healing over time effects off because of their honor talent. So I literally just have one Omnibar set up only for that ability. Then I have one also only set up for Tremor Totem, mainly when I'm playing a Disc Priest, knowing when the Shaman does or doesn't have Tremor Totem. Again, I don't have to look through all of the different abilities on that one bar. I have these smaller icons scattered throughout my screen that tell me key important things. And as I'm playing, my brain learns where that is. So instead of looking down and seeing a bunch of icons and having that mess of information in my head, I know exactly where to look because I've looked at the same spot 1,000 times, 2,000 times, 5,000 times, So that's basically how I have Omnibar set up. So next we have sArena. sArena basically is just showing you all the information that you need from the enemy team. You've got diminishing returns for different crowd controls. You got the cast bar, the trinket, their HP, what class they're playing, their racial ability, things like that. This was one of the ones that I wasn't able to get a profile for, so I'm just going to quickly click through each setting if you want to just copy the numbers when you have it open on your game. We got arena frames, spec icons, trinkets, racials, cast bars, diminishing returns. For global settings, the only things that I changed, I don't show status text. I like to keep that off. And then I don't show names. I don't like to see the name of the people that I'm fighting. I feel that it just is unnecessary crowding information on my screen. And I think that's pretty much it for sArena. So now Weakauras. Weakauras is a tricky one. It's going to be a pretty short section of this video. Weakauras are definitely, with no discussion, the most overpowered add-on in the game. You can do anything and everything with Weakauras. I don't know how to create them. I don't know how to make them. My buddy Gizmo shout out to Gizmo. He's insane. He's made a bunch of awesome Weakauras for me and for other people. If you want any of the Weakauras that I used, again, go to that section in the Discord right here. These are the popular ones that people are always asking for. And if there's another one that I'm using in the future, come by the stream, say, hey man, can I have that Weakora? There's a lot of people that are weird about it, but like, I don't care. If I have a Weakora, you want it, I will share it with you right away. No stress. Just come by and hit me up. All right, so jumping into those optional add-ons. So number one, we got BetterBlizzFrames. This is an add-on that you can do a lot with, but I have not really done that much with. I, again, posted the profile in my stream, but if you want to copy these settings manually, feel free. I just do like, you know, OCD tweaks, dark mode, I like that on. Overshields shows the amount of absorb that your teammates have right on their nameplate. Or not their nameplate, sorry, the raid frame. It'll show, if they have a shield, it'll show the shield on here, which is beneficial. But basically, this add-on just enhances your frames. You're able to make little tweaks and little adjustments to your target frames. Next, we have BetterBlizzPlates, which is the same thing, except not for frames, for nameplates. The one thing that I have set up on here that I would suggest you get set up is to control the nameplate width. For enemy nameplates, I have the width set to 135, as you can see here. And for friendly nameplates, I have the width set to 70. So what this means is that friendly nameplates are going to be shorter. Enemy nameplates are going to be longer. So essentially, it just makes it easier for me to distinguish between friendly and enemy nameplates. Next, we've got an add-on called Diminish. And this is a big one. I was considering putting it under required. I don't think it's required. It might just crowd your screen until you get to a point where you really are cognizant of wanting to see DRs. This tracks diminishing returns. So if I toggle test mode, you can see that these are the DRs for me. It tells me that I am off stun DR in 8 seconds, 7 seconds. I'm off sheep DR in 1 second. So it just lets you know when you're going to get crowd controlled next. And I actually also have it enabled for my party. As you can see here, there's a little stun icon with 15 seconds left here and 18 seconds left here. This shows me that when each one of my teammates is off of stun DR, which when you're fighting any kind of like setup comp is pretty key information. I would recommend setting it up as long as, you know, if you're a new player, you're just getting started, maybe not. But if you're trying to really become competitive and you want to know like, oh, are they going to get stunned in a minute? Or are they vulnerable to dying? It can help you kind of preemptively understand who is in the most danger at what time. And again, this is one of the add-ons that I wasn't able to export a profile for. So I'm just going to quickly click through. I don't have anything enabled except for player and party. So you don't see it on nameplates, arena, target, or focus. But for player, these are my settings here. And for party, these are my settings here. I'm only tracking stun DRs in my party. I don't need to see all this other stuff. All right, so here we have Omni CD. This is, you know, one that I think some people might have wanted me to put in required, but I would say that it's not. The main reason that it's not, and this is a core concept that I'm going to touch on in future videos, if you want to improve at the game of World of Warcraft, if you want to get better at PvP, at arena, and in my opinion, really a lot of things in life, it is best for you to be focused on yourself. You're gonna be met with challenges especially in things like solo shuffle, where you may lose games because of mistakes that your teammates make. I would highly recommend to completely forget about that. Only focus on yourself. What can you do better? And if you have that mentality and you embody that, and you're not, you know, constantly criticizing other people for their mistakes, you're going to see an improvement in the way that you're treated, in the way that people speak to you, in the way that people respect you and respect your gameplay. People don't respect other people who are constantly talking trash and, you know, pointing out other people's mistakes. People respect players who are focused on themselves and are constantly trying to improve and be better. And a quick disclaimer, I do that all the time. I get upset all the time when the people that I'm playing with don't use cooldowns. In solo shuffle, I'll complain about it on stream. I'll get emotional, and that's a mistake. I shouldn't be doing that. You know, I think as human beings, we can hold contradictory ideas in our minds. You know, I said what I just said about, you know, focusing on yourself, when in reality, I am overcome by my own emotions sometimes, and, you know, I'm trash talking or saying, oh my God, I can't believe that guy died without using that. But that is a personal failure on my part, and I try to do better moving forward in the future. So what Omni CD does is it basically helps you understand what cooldowns your teammates have. If you, again, go to my UI here, this is Omni CD. It says, okay, my priest has Disperse, Swap, Shadow Meld, Trinket. You know, my rogue has Cloak of Shadows, Evasion. It can be helpful as a healer. It can be extremely nice to know when your teammates have those cooldowns. So if you want to understand that information, you want to have access to that information, go ahead and get the add-on. You can go to offensive, defensive, utility, and you can just enable or disable whatever things. This is one of the add-ons that I had a profile for in my Discord under add-on profiles. It is right here. So if you just want to copy mine, feel free. And the last optional add-on that we had was Doom Cooldown Pulse. If you look right here in the center of my screen here, you see this kind of transparent icon that shows that this is the icon for Wild Charge. It's because Wild Charge just came off of cooldown. So if you look here, now you can see the Dispel icon just popped up because Dispel came off of cooldown. That's all it does. It's a nice add-on that I like a lot, but it's totally optional. All right, well, that's it for episode 2, UI and add-ons. If you want to see more content like this, please hit the video with a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Thank you for your support. If you have any feedback, anything I missed, please leave it down in the comment section. Stay focused on yourself. Keep grinding. You're awesome. See you soon, guys. Peace, peace.